It was the early morning of February 28, 1994. 6 pilots of the Bosnian Serb Air Force climbed into their aging J-21 Jastrebs, knowing full well that this mission could be their last. Their target was a weapons factory deep inside territory monitored by NATO, a mission that violated a strict no-fly zone. Rankovic Mirovic, the squadron leader, checked his instruments. Round him, the other pilots were silent, focused, each lost in thought about the danger ahead. These planes were old, slow, and poorly armed compared to the modern NATO F-16s that patrolled the skies. The approach flying low to avoid radar detection, the Jastrebs weaved through valleys and hills. The morning mist hid them partially, but the technology of NATO was advanced. The moment they ascended, they would be spotted. As they approached the target, they had no choice but to climb to 2,000 meters to line up their bombing run. Immediately, NATO radars lit up. 50 miles away, 2 F-16s were scrambled to intercept. Black flight. You have 6 bogeys, came the American voice over the radio. BRAA 320 for 52 at 7,000. Flanking. Mirovic's stomach tightened. Ahead, 2 American jets roared through the sky like thunder. He knew the F-16s could destroy them from miles away, but they hadn't fired yet. Bombing run, the Jastrebs pressed on, eyes fixed on the target. Using optical sights, they released their 550-pound bombs. Explosions rocked the weapons factory below. Target hit, reported Krnalik from the rear. Objective complete. Mission success. But the danger was far from over. The chase begins suddenly. Missiles screamed through the sky. An AIM-120M locked onto Krnalik's wingman. The first jet exploded in a massive fireball. Scatter, run, shouted the pilots. The remaining Jastrebs dove into valleys, racing between hills, twisting through the terrain in desperate attempts to escape. Krnalik was alone now, F-16 on his tail. Another missile, this time an AIM-9 heat seeker, locked onto his engines. An explosion tore through his vertical stabilizer, but he managed to keep flying. Makarovic, flying alongside, watched his wingman destroyed. Flames consumed his jet, forcing him to eject safely. More losses. Mirovic and Goran Zarek tried every maneuver imaginable. They dove close to the ground, pulled sharp turns, pushed the G-forces to the limit, but the F-16s were relentless. Zarek's jet clipped the ground and burst into flames. His parachute didn't have time to open, but Mirovic barely escaped. Stunned, heart pounding, eyes wide at the destruction around him. Krnalik's narrow escape. Krnalik, the last remaining pilot, limped home in his damaged plane. Another F-16 appeared behind him. He grabbed the emergency handle, preparing to eject, but instead of firing, the American pilot saluted him and pulled away. A brief moment of respect in a deadly sky. Aftermath. Out of 6 brave pilots, 3 never returned. This day became known as the Banja Luka incident, marking NATO's first ever combat engagement. Robert Wilbur Wright was credited with 3 victories, the highest by a USAF pilot in a single mission since the Korean War, while Stephen Yogi Allen claimed 1. Even years later, Krnalik reflected, "I don't have any bad feelings towards the American pilots. We had our task. They had theirs." Conclusion. The skies over Bosnia would never forget that day. Courage, desperation, skill, and tragedy collided in a deadly ballet of fire and flight. The Banja Luka raid remains a stark reminder of the high-stakes pilots face in modern air warfare. Deep Story Hub, epic true stories, brought to life.